Hello, everyone. We are here again with yet another video for you. This time we have a brand new Harvard Business School admit, Tanay. So he'll introduce himself soon. But I'm Sumeet Verlekar. I'm the founder of Tilden Global Education. We are admissions consulting firm based out of Mumbai and San Francisco. We help a lot of people for top tier universities in MBA, MS, and other programs as well. But now this is all about Tanay. So hi Tanay and welcome to the video.
Hey Sumeet, thank you so much.
Great. So Tanay, do you want to maybe take a few minutes to introduce yourself for all of those who are really excited about your Harvard Business School admit? But yeah, let's kind of discover who the person is.
Sure. Hey everyone. So I'm Tanay Shah. I'm from BITS Goa. I was pursuing a dual major in computer science and economics. And in addition to that, I've tried my hand at a few internships here and there. I've been into consulting, I've been into investing as well. And most recently, I was in some sort of a trading role at JP Morgan. And I was just trying to figure out where my passion lies. And eventually, venture capital is where I tend to look forward to going. In addition to that, I think I've been a really extracurricular person throughout my college. I was part of the mime club. I was part of the ultimate frisbee team as well, and just really trying out whatever comes to life. So really excited to be here and really excited to go to Harvard.
Right. So I think an often one common question, Tanay, that we get is why would you want to move from an engineering to an MBA, right? So do you want to maybe talk about, why did you choose to decide, to apply for an MBA or consider an MBA?
Sure. So for me, while I do come from an engineering background, I was always inclined towards the economics side of things for my degree. And that's why I tried my hand at various internships in the finance domain specifically. Coding was something I was not really passionate about doing full time. And that's when I started exploring and I realized that, okay, if I want to continue in this field, especially venture or private equity, and I want to go higher and higher up, or eventually even start off my own fund, I think an MBA is something that helps me fast track to that level and also give me a lot of exposure and a lot of network that will help me in the future. So that was kind of my goal almost, I think, in my fourth or fifth year that, okay, at some point, maybe I'll do an MBA. That's where it all started.
Lovely, lovely. So now just continuing the same thread of thought. So now obviously you've decided you want to do an MBA, right? So what happened next, right? Could you take us through sort of the different steps, from the realization, yeah, you know what, this is I'm interested in an MBA. Now, what did you do to really sort of firm up your mind? Who did you talk to, right? What are the different things you did? If you could just share that.
Yeah, so I think the first step was just to figure out what are the things required before you can even apply to an MBA. And one of the first things was just giving the GMAT. So again, to be very honest, I wasn't sure whether to apply for a deferred process. I was just, okay, I just want to do an MBA at some point. And so I was like, okay, the GMAT score is valid for 5 years. So why not at least just finish off the GMAT while I'm still in my education so that I don't mess up and I need time later on in my job. So that's where it all started. I was just prepping for a month for GMAT. And once I gave that, then suddenly I talked to a few people on campus. So Ayush was one of my seniors who I spoke to, and a few other folks as well. And they were like, okay, you know what? Now that you've given your GMAT, now that you have a decent score, you seem to have a decent profile. Why don't you just try and apply? I mean, it's a shot that may or may not work out, but it's something that you should definitely go for now that you have done the hard steps that were required before that. So it was kind of a leap of faith. My parents were also a bit dicey here and there, but then they were fully supportive. They were like, sure, let's go for it. Let's hope for the best. And that's how it all started.
Excellent, excellent. So now let's talk about, the apprehensions, challenges, right? So, I mean, for all of you who are listening, this process is not because you have a great profile, you are a shoe-in, right? If you are
Correct.
from a BITS or a IIT or one of the top non-engineering colleges, the profile is obviously very important, but it is not a shoe-in. So it's not like you're from a top school, hence you are in, and I'm not from a top school, so hence I'm out or I should not even apply, right?
That's,
So
yes.
with that in mind, what apprehensions, did you have any challenges or apprehensions and thoughts, and how did you sort of overcome some of those?
Yeah. So I think my biggest apprehension was, will I get in? I think that's what almost everyone thinks before applying, that do I have a chance? Do I have a
Yeah,
shot?
right.
And it was just at the end of the day, a task that I assigned that, okay, you know what, let's just go for it. Let's just give my best. And I spoke to a few seniors. I tried to go through their profiles, tried to see who were the past admits. And I was like, okay, you know what, let's just take a leap of faith. Let's see how things go. So I was never 100% confident that things will work out. I was never 0% confident that nothing's going to work out. It was kind of like, let's go step by step. Let's see where things go. And
Right.
it worked out. Yeah.
Great. And that's very important, just to kind of sort of faith, know the process really well and kind of, just keep at it. Because what's in your hand is something that you can control. And I think you are a great example of that today, right? So just moving on to then the process itself. The process is very different from what we usually encounter from an Indian scenario, right? So could you share a bit with the audience about what the process was and then, how did you go through the process?
Sure. So again, the first step was I just spoke to a few seniors who had applied and had even gotten admits, or those who hadn't got it as well. I think learning the process from everyone is really important. And once I found out and I gave the GMAT, that's when the real process sort of started. So I contacted you. I understood the process from you in brief, and then we started off the entire journey. So again, the fact was that I was actually interning as well during these last 6 months. So I was having like 12-hour work days, and most
Right,
of my work used to happen. I mean, most of my application related work would happen only on the weekend. So it was
right,
quite hectic for me. I was used to like take out 1 hour during my commute to office and back from office to kind of work on a few essays. So yeah, essentially the process would be just to sort of diagnose and think about why you want to do an MBA. I think that was the first thing that
mm,
you guys also helped me understand and sort of map out my life in what are the steps, what are the things I've done in my life, how are they helping out, how are they reaching to an MBA, and just kind of accepting myself that, okay, this is something I want to do, this is something that I require in my life, and now I have to go for it. And once that started, we started finalizing what sort of schools we want to apply. And then based on the prompts of each particular school, we had discussions on what would work out, what would not work out, what are the sort of feedbacks that were given. And that was really important. I think when when you read the prompt, you think, okay, this is something, this is very easy. Like they're asking about me and my life, I'll just write it down. And
right.
then you realize, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe there are some nuances that I missed here or some specific words that I should have focused more on. So I
Yeah.
think that was really an important part of the journey.
Beautiful. So the process itself, right? Just for the uninitiated here, uh, this is a very profile-based selection process. So you basically, have to write essays. You have to write your resume. Like you have to create your own resume. Then obviously work with your recommenders, right? Kind of um, reiterate to them, why what you're doing, and then hopefully they write a really compelling recommendation for you. So obviously Tanay did this and did that extremely well as well. And of course, it was a really, really good interactive way of sort of working together as well. Because obviously, when you start writing essays, and as Tanay rightly said, when you kind of look at these prompts, they seem really simple. But then when you get the feedback, I'm sure Tanay, you would have realized, oh my gosh, there's that is something I completely missed and this and that. And that's where, I think, just kind of giving it time, right, to be able to go through that process and not doing things at the last moment is absolutely crucial. So just a bit from me from that perspective, but yeah, so that was it. So overall, like, if you could just recount your own process experience, could you talk about that? And, if there anything stood out for you, if there were any challenges, if there were any highlights, all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge was just the time crunch specifically for me. I started off, I think, Feb end or March first week. I think that was really, really late, to
That
be
was
very
very late.
honest.
Yes.
I mean, the thing was when I gave my GMAT the first time, I wasn't really happy with my score, so I had to re-give the GMAT. And then when I was happy, it was a bit too late. So
Hmm.
I think that the biggest challenge was just the time crunch specifically. Had I started off, I don't know, maybe December or Jan at the very latest, I think
Hmm.
things would have been a lot more smoother. Plus, the fact that I was working full time also had a lot of hindrance in how much time I could give this entire application process.
Right.
But In general, I think a lot of support from not just Tilden and you, but also from all of my friends, all of my recommenders as well. I think everyone kind of like accepted that the deadlines are really tight. So they were all really cordial and allowing me to work with them really well. And
Mm,
I think that's the entire thing. I think I'm really happy that a lot of support came to me from all sorts of areas and eventually helped me succeed.
mm, mm. Lovely. Okay. So I think that's it. I think, is there anything else you want to cover that you may not have covered yet?
I think one feedback, or I think two things actually. One, as I probably mentioned, I think if you are looking to start, do start earlier. You can contact your seniors, you can contact me, you can contact Sumit, you can contact anyone you want just to get more information, but try to commit a bit earlier so that you get more time to familiarize yourself with the process.
Mm,
Especially if you are interning like me and you won't have a lot of time in the future.
mm,
And secondly, I think don't be scared. I think I was probably one of the most underconfident people before applying that because I wasn't sure Harvard, Wharton, Stanford. I mean, who knows what will happen, what will not? What if I don't get an admit anywhere? I think that fear will always remain, but the sooner you commit, the better you give your own chances, I feel. So just talk to whoever is required, get more information, but try to make a decision soon enough. I think you'll be a lot more better for that.
okay, lovely. I think that concludes our video for today. So I thank you, Tanay, from the bottom of my heart and my team, of course. It was wonderful working with you, and I wish you all the best and all the success.
Thank you so much, Sumit. We look forward. I'll connect with you very soon.
Great.